Hi everyone, it's Anthony Fantano here, the internet's sweatiest music nerd, and it's time for a review of the new Brockhampton project, Saturation. Brockhampton is a hip-hop outfit that was once based down in Texas. I think they've relocated to the internet or something. I think they have 7 members or 9 members or 12 members or like 15 members. I'm not entirely sure. I know I'm trying to be festive over here because this is a very good project, and I did want to have the yellow flannel on here, just to make a little appearance, but it is hot. It is very hot. And I'm just going to be super unprofessional and wear my undershirt, okay? Now, if you weren't already aware, there's some notable underground names already affiliated with the Brockhampton project. That is one Kevin Abstract, Don McLennan, both of whose solo material I have been aware of. I have heard much of it. Admittedly, more of Kevin's music has stuck with me than Dom's, especially his American Boyfriend project that dropped not too long ago. A lot of fans and music writers hype up the fact that he is so open about his sexuality in his music as like this big selling point, but I think what makes him unique as an artist runs much deeper than that. Just listen to American Boyfriend and see for yourself. I'm not going to talk too much about it here. I'm just going to say, make sure you've heard it if it slipped through the cracks for you, because there are a lot of elements to that project, a lot of ideas forged on that project that do show up in spades on Saturation quite a bit. There's actually one track, the last track on the entire project, Waste, which is this deeply melodic and passionate guitar ballad that would have fit snugly on American Boyfriend, and I think will remind some fans of cuts that were on Frank Ocean's Blonde. All that being said, though, there are other names affiliated with Brockhampton that you're going to get to know just because of how much talent they bring to the table on this thing, just because of how much they steal the show on these tracks, whether that be Joba or Matt Champion or Merlin Wood or Amir Van, just to name a few. And this is not Brockhampton's first rodeo either. I remember first hearing about them back in 2015 when I heard that Dirt single played on Ebro's Beats One show or whatever, and I thought that single really hit hard. It was a hard as nails track. It was wild. It was youthful. It was off the wall. It was crazy. And then the subsequent mixtape, All American Trash, that the group dropped not too long after, it really underwhelmed me. There were some hard, gritty tracks on there, but much of the project, I think, was bogged down with a lot of impersonal slow burners that really took the wind out of the sails of the entire tape. And I most likely would not have looked for another Brockhampton project ever again if it had not been for the fact that teasing up to Saturation, they released one fire single after another. There was not a bad track promoting this album. There was actually not a track that was not excellent promoting this album, whether it be Fake or Gold or Boys or Heat or Face or Star. It was just like non-stop fantastic tracks. Coming out with this much material, you could risk spoiling the album experience once you actually hear the entire thing. But going into this, at least I thought I knew that that most of it was going to be good. But now that I have the entire thing in front of me, this thing is 17 tracks. It's 50 minutes, and there's only like a couple skits. And All American Trash did have a few duds on it. So I'm coming into this thinking, is Brockhampton going to consistently deliver great material for the entirety of this thing? Somehow they do. Shockingly, this up-and-coming group has delivered one of the most consistent rap projects I've heard this year. Consistent in terms of quality. This thing is wall-to-wall, creative, colorful, visceral, bouncy, sweet, catchy, hard production. And the music they create on this thing runs deeper than rap, like that song Waste that I mentioned earlier. The song Swim is this dreamy, serene, kind of sensual, auto-tuned ballad that is beautiful. It's feel good. I love the distant tones wailing away in the background very faintly. They kind of sound like horns, kind of. I'm not saying they are, but they're very beautiful. I love the sentiment of the track too, coming through in the lyrics, and the vocal effects don't exactly take away from the emotional performance of the singing either. The string sections that were worked into the song Cash at various points are gorgeous as well. The song Bump is easily one of the biggest bangers on the entire record, but the hook is very unique because it features kind of a breakdown, a breakaway. Every piece of instrumentation melts or disappears just so we can hear this one lone lonely, tiny guitar line with Kevin Abstract singing over it. He takes on most of the song hooks, if not all of them, on the entire project. He sings very well, but matched with this guitar line, it's almost like I'm hearing some kind of sad, angsty guy alt-rock from the 90s or something. And that's not the only point on the album where the group seems to pull some very clear influence from rock music 10 to 20 years ago. The song Milk might have a sequenced beat and other fundamentals of hip-hop production worked into the instrumental, but the lyrics and the vocal melody sounds like I'm listening to the lamentations of some kind of 2000s era emo band singing about struggling to be yourself and wishing you had a friend who you just kind of hang out with and be on the couch with. There might not be an overall scheme or theme to this album, whether it be conceptually or lyrically or even musically sometimes. But again, I think in terms of quality, song quality, production quality, lyrical quality, every song is so high. There are a few tracks on the back end that feel kind of way out in terms of musical style and stick out like a sore thumb a little bit. But even these songs for me are not really skippable. There's so much great material on here, and I haven't even gotten to the core tracks yet, like the opener, Heat. I really don't know what to praise about this track first. The insane, aggressive, in-your-face, off-the-wall, animalistic verses and rapping throughout the track, or the instrumental, which features this clunky, heavy drum beat that just knocks, this fuzzy, somewhat distorted bass line, and on the hook, this wall of shrill, ear-piercing noise and sinister melodies like flies in and creates this explosion of sonic mayhem. The song Gold is much lighter and smoother and catchier by comparison. Kevin's hook on this thing is one of the best on the entire project. Keep a gun chained on my neck, fly as a jet. Boy, better treat me with respect. Brockhampton here effectively proves that they can dial it back from 11 to a very chill, laid-back 5, but still come through with a track that's very sticky, has a lot of personality, a lot of character, and a good sense of humor too. The song Star features all of these hilarious pop culture references from music to movies and so on and so forth. Kevin Abstract's verse toward the back end cleans up shop and is a little more personal than the previous two, talking about how he needs to get his teeth fixed and his association with Viceland. The beat on this thing is a nocturnal trunk knocker that segues seamlessly into the next track, Boys. The following track, Tupac, might just be like a bit of a 1-minute instrumental, but it's still one of the most emotionally compelling songs on the entire album. Brockhampton isn't just dropping aggressive bangers on here. They are a very versatile group. They are great at dropping those aggressive and kind of mid-paced tracks, though, because these guys go into each track with a lot of chemistry, lyrically. They play off of each other so well and extrapolate fantastically on whatever flow that they have chosen on a track. It gives each song a lot of momentum to the point where they don't even really need to go into a track with so much in the way of a super strong lyrical topic or concept for it to be entertaining. Case in point, Bank. Case in point, Fake. Not to mention the fact that the forward-thinking production and quality hooks also add to the winning mix of these songs. But to get back to my earlier point about sad songs on this thing, these guys don't just drop bangers. There are real moments of personal turmoil on here. There are really introspective tracks that seem to reflect at least a little bit on the current political and social state of America, being yourself, loneliness, struggling through a thankless and unforgiving economy, love, being unsure of your future. In a way, Brockhampton, more than any of their contemporaries, I think has embodied the woes of the average millennial, and they've done it without making an album or making a project that is overly political or is like, Trump, 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 we don't like Donald Trump. Yeah, I assume that. And my point here about these woes, embodying them, is especially true when you consider that the last gang of young upstarts, rabble-rousers to take the rap game by storm was Odd Future, whose rage just kind of turned out to be a phase fueled by their teenage angst. And I'm not saying that as a slight against Odd Future or as a slight against Brockhampton, but I can't help but feel like when I listen to this, as much as I enjoy it, I feel like I'm almost listening to an Odd Future for people who went to college or graduated college, because I feel like Brockhampton in a way is delivering what so many music writers and fans had banked on Odd Future doing as a collective, delivering these perfectly crafted, energetic, crazy, forward-thinking, ahead-of-the-curve posse tracks with each member having their own distinct personality, with each member functioning on a similarly high level of talent. Odd Future, unfortunately, as a collective, did not do that. That's not to say that they weren't an incredibly influential group and that they didn't have talent at their disposal. I just thought each member saw more artistic success individually than they did as a group, because Tyler has come out with his solid projects, so has Earl, so has Sid. I don't mean to turn this whole review into an Odd Future conversation, but I can't help but feel like they kind of set the foundation for what Brockhampton is doing here on this project. I mean, certainly there are a lot of verses on here that I think give off a little bit of an Earl vibe. Brockhampton, though, seems to gel in a way that no other group their size has in a long time, which is what makes this album so electrifying, because the quality of the songs here, again, is so fantastically consistent. You have so much diversity across the album in terms of emotion, musical style, the personalities and lyrical styles of each member. Also, the producers on this thing bring an incredibly large amount of talent and creativity to the table, too. And this thing is so dense and detailed in terms of each verse, each beat, what each member is overall adding to this project individually. As much as I have talked about this project, I feel like I've only sort of scratched the surface of what makes this thing so good. So I mean, I'm just gonna leave it here and say, this is fantastic. Make sure you listen to this. It's an excellent project, and I am feeling a light 9 on it. Transition, have you given Saturation a listen? Did you love it? Did you hate it? What would you rate it? You're the best. You're the best. What should I review next? Hit the like if you like. Please subscribe, and please don't cry. Just leave an angry comment in the comments if you're angry, though I don't see why you should be, because this is a good freaking project. I will catch you guys in the next video. Other videos next to my head you should check out. Subscribe to the channel, official website too. Drink some water, eat some fruits and vegetables forever.